Hockey.
Oche.
What? Hockey.
Oche.
Oh. Hockey. I gotta change my shirt. Hey everyone, Tim the Dart Man. Today we're going to talk about something that everybody uses in the game of darts, but not everyone says it correctly, and that is the Oche. The Oche, as everyone knows, is the line that you stand at when you go to throw darts. So Oche is a very funny word. If you hear some people pronounce it, you're not really sure what they're saying, but if you look it up, it basically says that you pronounce the word hockey without the H. And that makes it really easy for the rest of us Americans that probably haven't heard of the word Oche before we started watching it, on TV or on the internet. So today we're gonna look at the Oche and we're gonna explain what different things mean with regard to, where you should stand. So where should you stand when throwing your darts? And that's gonna depend on a lot of different things. So come along with me today and we'll explore the Oche. So, what is an Oche? It's the line that we stand at, right, when we go to throw darts. And if you look down, you'll see that there are darts pointing off kind of canted this way on the right side, canted that way on the left side. And why is that? Why do they show the darts? Is that just a decorative thing? Well, actually it isn't. What that shows is, basically, if you go to the right side of the board, typically, if you shoot from way over on the right side, your darts are going to be angled that way, right? So looking at it head on, you'll see it angled like that. And if you go to the left side, too far over, right, on this side, then you're going to see your dart, and it's going to go into the board kind of like that, right? And showing it kind of as an exaggeration. Now, if the zero on the board, right, the zero on the Oche, I should say, here is the center, and people say, hey, try to get yourself lined up with the center and shoot at the board that way. Well, that's all well and good for most people, maybe, but as you know, everyone has their own style of shooting darts. And so what happens is that with some styles, you can stand in the middle, line yourself up directly with the middle, but you could still have that dart going in at that angle. And so you might have to go further over to this way to get that to come back and not be angled so much. So we're going to explore that, and we're going to do some shots where we're standing to one side or the other, and we'll see what happens and see what you kind of need to do over a period of time. Don't just throw 3 darts at the board and say, okay, I got to be standing over to the left because my darts are canted to the right, or vice versa. Throw a lot of darts, see what's going on with your darts as they hit the board, and make the determination after several shots. Don't try to do it, after a few shots, because you'll be chasing your tail back and forth on where to stand. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stand obviously off to the right-hand side of the Oche. So we're going to go way over here somewhere, and we're going to throw 3 darts and just kind of let you know where they hit on the board. And then we'll do the same thing on the right-hand side. All right, so standing obviously way over on the right-hand side, we'll throw 3 darts and see how they land in the board. So you can see that there's a definite tilt to 2 of the darts that are going in from this angle. That only makes sense, right? Because you're standing way over to the right-hand side and you're throwing those darts kind of at an angle to the board. And so that's why the darts are canted this way. This one came in straight when I hit, kind of an anomaly. But this really does show you what happens when you're standing to one side or the other just a little too much. Now, vice versa, we're going to stand way over to the left side of the board, and we're going to throw some darts in there and see what they look like. Okay, in a very similar fashion to when we threw from the right-hand side, throwing from the left-hand side is left one dart that was in straight, again, probably an anomaly, and why you shouldn't just judge it on just a few darts, right? You can see these two darts are clearly, canted this way, and so these two darts would tell you, over several darts, that you need to go closer towards the center until you get your darts consistently going in straighter. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we go to the middle of the rectifier and we set up there, and then we go ahead and throw 3 darts at the board. Okay, other than being consistently off to the right in aim, these darts are fairly straight in, and that's kind of what you want to try to get to, right? So your darts are going straight into the board, and what that does more than anything else is this. Okay, sometimes I'll throw one, and I won't have my footing right, or I'll just throw it off, and I'll get a dart that'll come into the treble 20 like this. Well, pretty much that treble 20 is wasted at that point, because there's nothing that you can really do to squeeze another dart in there unless you get really lucky or you're just really good. So if you straighten that dart out, then what happens is it allows all this room for you for that dart to go in. So that's kind of what you're looking at, is keeping your darts going in straight so that it allows for a better second shot. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll get it in with a little tilt like that, and I'll bump my footing over to the right and try to slide them in that way. And that works sometimes, but it opens up a lot of other issues, because when you step over to the right or to the left more, you're actually shooting from a further distance. So that same action that you had that got you into that treble 20 is going to have to be just a little bit more when you go to the right or to the left. So what else affects the way the darts go into the board? Well, one thing could be your footing and your stance and the way you stand. So if you are standing straight at the board, you think you're looking right at your target, and you're actually got your back foot back a little too much to the right or a little too much to the left, that can affect which way you're throwing. Also, the way that your foot is angled. Some people like their foot to be angled, basically parallel with the line, and some bring it off a little bit. I recently have found that about a 45-degree angle works best for me, and with my throw, I found that standing at the center line doesn't work for me. I need to go to the left of the center line, because my throw, even if I'm lined up perfectly with the center of the board, seems to actually go in as if I'm standing too far right, So they're going in with that canted angle, with the flight, the point going in, and the flight heading over to the right-hand side of the board. So what I'll do for me is I'll go a little bit to the left of the center line, and then I can go ahead and line up the way I like to line up and go ahead and shoot my darts. So what I've found is doing it this way actually makes my darts straighter. Okay, so you can see that, again, I was just to the left of the center line throwing, and it still has that just slightly canted this way. So could I go a little bit more? Yeah, and I probably should, right? But again, what you need to do is you need to throw a lot of darts in one area to find out whether or not you're throwing them in at this angle, straight, that angle, or what's going on. Start with the Oche. Start with making sure that when you throw your darts, they're going straight into the board, no matter what number you're shooting at. And don't be afraid to move left or right on the Oche if you have to get away from dart blocking your target. Okay, so Tim the Dartman, the Oche is key. Get your footing right, get your base right, get your setup right, and then the rest of the game will come along with that. If you don't have your footing right, if you don't have your base right, don't have your setup right, you're gonna kind of be spraying darts all over the place. So take a lot of time to figure out where you should be standing, what angle your foot should be at. Be comfortable, very important. You always want to be comfortable when you're throwing. Get that right, and the rest of the game will come easy to you. Tim the Dartman, if you like this, please like and subscribe.